It's one thing to say, okay, members of the Trump administration met with Russian officials. That kind of thing happens a lot. Maybe it's ominous, maybe it's not.
Well, and to lie about it. And that's an important thing.
You're saying now that the military action we just saw on Thursday night may have been coordinated with the Russians to throw sleuths like you off the scent. That appears to be what you're saying. And that just seems like a huge conspiracy to me.
Well, it's a conspiracy if it's a conspiracy, but the reality is I'm just giving it to you as a plausible explanation. No, and that's why I said I'm not going to confirm it. Look, I know you would love for me to say that and confirm it. I'm just saying that there are people who think that. There are Americans who think that.
Who are they?
Yeah, who are they?
What a great question.
Well, you know who he is, the guy who is screen left. That's Tucker Carlson, who joins us now screen right. We're just trying to throw you off. Tucker, I love the fact that you asked him, what's your evidence, and he didn't have any.
Well, the difference between religion and politics is in religion, no amount of contrary evidence shakes your faith. It just bolsters your faith. So if you believe that Trump is doing the bidding of Vladimir Putin, and all of a sudden he attacks a puppet, a client state of Vladimir Putin, a country with Russian troops in it, you have to ask yourself, how does this fit into my grand theory of everything? And a normal person would say, maybe I need to reassess my grand theory. But the Democrats right now are saying, no, 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 this is just more evidence. It's so complex, this conspiracy, that this proves it must be true. It's actually getting scary.
The Russians.
Yeah. The Russians. But the Russians.
That's all.
It's a conversation ender, not a starter.
Is that all they have? Is that why they continue this narrative?
I really think a lot of them have come to believe it. I mean, I think politics, of course, plays a role. This is a political question. But judging by the Democrats I know in Washington, I mean, they really believe that the election is the result of Russian meddling. It satisfies them emotionally. It describes and explains something that is inexplicable to them otherwise. How could Hillary have lost to this guy? And they are emotionally vested in it, and it's blinding them to certain realities.
So then Donald Trump bombed Syria, their ally, which would prove that there is no collusion. But they're still trying to make...
No, the conspiracy is then it makes Trump
So no matter what he does, there's a conspiracy theory,
You know what? This is so confusing. We need to bring in another voice of reason.
Okay.
Ann Coulter is out there as well.
Goodness.
Ann joining Tucker and us. Ann, what do you make of what Tucker had on last night with Seth Moulton?
I just wish there had been a little conspiracy theorizing on the left back when there actually was a Soviet conspiracy to, you know, spread their members, Soviet spies throughout the FDR and Truman administrations. But when that was going on, no, they were defending Alger Hiss and the Rosenbergs. I think Tucker is totally right. It's hilarious. It's the one sort of extra service of Obamacare that I think should still be covered, 72-hour surveillance for liberals and their conspiracy theories.
Well, we always love to get both of your opinions. I'm sure you saw the story about United dragging that poor guy off of the plane because they overbooked the flight. And we've been talking about this all morning, but we love your opinions because both of you are pretty fiery. Tucker, what did you think about this?
Well, I agree with the CEO of United. I mean, when armed men come on and beat you bloody, they're not hurting you. They're, quote, re-accommodating you. When you are chosen on the basis of an algorithm, having paid for your ticket, and you don't feel like obeying that algorithm, and they beat you up, and you complain, you're at fault. I mean, I think he's made a really good point.
Now, Ann, where are you, in Los Angeles today? Okay, so you flew out there on an airline. I'm sure you didn't see anything like that. You know how it, but I've actually seen you out at LaGuardia. You travel a lot. This is one of those things that big airlines do these days. They overbook a lot of flights, and then they start the casino. I'll give you $400 if you don't want to go for the ride. I'll give you $800. Yesterday, it got up to $1,000. They didn't have any takers.
Yeah, there was a woman a few weekends ago, you've probably reported on this, who made $11,000 by accepting those, if you don't mind, waiting and taking the next flight. One weekend, $11,000 she and her family. I wonder how much was offered here. Maybe you have that information, but I can't believe that the airlines $1,000, that's it. Well, I think if nobody will take that, you just have to keep raising the price. That seems like the obvious solution.
What would y'all have done in that situation?
I also wonder why they don't have better computer logarithms to figure this out. I mean, computers can figure out anything, and they don't have a better idea of how many are going to overbook. I also want to know who all these people are overbooking. Have you ever tried to cancel a flight? You get like $20 back.
Wait, can I just ask, why would you pay someone more when you could just bring men on to beat him up? I mean, why wouldn't you just use force and then blame the victim of the force? Isn't that just cheaper?
What would you have done if you were in that situation?
If I were the man in the seat? I mean, I think I probably would have complied because I don't want to be on television bloody. You know what I mean? But, like, the idea that the CEO is defending this and their stock price has risen is just more evidence that this is a grotesque, screwed-up world. I mean, if you were one of his shareholders, would you be happy with Munoz's explanation for this, that it's the middle-aged Asian physician's fault for being uppity? I mean, seriously?
And this was a flight from Chicago to Louisville, and it's only about a 4.5-hour drive. One of our viewers tweeted us that basically United could have taken their 4 employees they needed to bust onto this flight and rent a car for $150 or something and have them drive 4 hours to Louisville.
As could some of the passengers, which is why they should have raised what they were offering the passengers. I mean, I'm with Tucker. This sort of, I'm against this because this means they're going to pick on the compliant passengers next time.
Right.
Exactly.
All right, let's talk a little bit about this. Coming up in a couple of weeks, Ann Coulter is actually going to be speaking at Berkeley. She is a conservative. Last time we know of a famous conservative, Milo Yiannopoulos, he was invited out there, and there were those crazy riots. Let's find out a little bit, Ann, about this invitation, and are you apprehensive that something crazy is going to happen to you like happened to him?
Well, I hope not. I like giving college speeches, and I kind of think that the Berkeley community may have been embarrassed by this. It's not just the college Republicans sponsoring me. I believe there's a nonpartisan Berkeley group that's part of the sponsorship. And in one of my books, If Democrats Had Any Brains, They'd Be Republicans, at the beginning of it, I describe college speeches because I give a lot of them. And generally, I am not apprehensive for colleges that have high SAT averages. It tends to be the Bush League schools, and I don't think, I mean, I could be wrong about this, but as I recall, I don't think the Milo protesters were Berkeley students, because I have a lot of fun with the college speeches, including college liberals. They're fun.
You're not nervous at all?
Well, it's not my job to keep me safe. My job is to rile them up.
Sure. Tucker, but it's just indicative of what we're seeing on a lot of campuses. Unless you are all have the same point of view, they don't want to hear you.
No. And I've known Ann for a long time, more than 20 years. Not that she's old enough to have known me 20 years ago, but let's just say, for the sake of argument, and I've never seen her intimidated or afraid.
Yeah.
Tucker, we just booked you a flight on United out there to Berkeley. Will you join her for the speech?
Actually, I think I'm taking Delta this time.
Good choice.
All right, thanks, guys.
All right.